So the past couple of days I've been working on my fence here. I had to set some new posts because the ones that are about 18 years old, 17, yeah, actually they're going to be 18-year-old this fall. I think that's when I got this fence. Um, they rotted at the bottom. So this post here rotted out on the bottom about 5 years ago or so, more or less 4 to 5 years ago. And this one here just rotted out, and I just replaced that one. It is a repurposed post. I did not go buy new wood. I repurposed somebody else's post. I just trimmed off the top, or the rotted portion, flipped the pole over so the better wood was down below, the stronger wood was down below. And so the whole goal here is to not put these things in the landfill just because they're a little bit weathered, or they're starting to show their age, or they're starting to malfunction or fall apart. You can repair them, and depending on what your purpose is, this is primarily for privacy. This is an older home, it's a rustic home, it's not, I don't have golf course type of lawn or anything like that, and so I try to maximize everything till it's basically goes back into the dirt. So this fence here was installed back in 2007. It's a Menards Stockade style fence. It was their most inexpensive at the time. I believe each panel was, I'm thinking like $27 or so per panel. So we got 1, 2, 3, then there was a fourth one here, and then this section here, the gate was made out of a panel. So 5 panels, so a little over $100 for just the panels. Then of course the screws, and then the posts, which are probably, I'm gonna guess, probably $8 a piece at that time, 2007. Couple 2 bags of cement for each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let's say $3 a piece, 18 bucks, 20 bucks in cement, and then the labor. I think total this fence cost me around $700 or so. I don't even think it was that much, honestly, folks. I really don't. It might have actually only been around $400, because I had a friend of mine do it, and he was really fast. He threw it up there in a few hours, and for me, it was a really good investment. I really needed, little help financially at that time because I had just purchased my home. But anyways, let me go over this fence here a little bit. Let me get a picket that I just pulled off. Now, this fence, this part of the fence here is going to be the gate right here. I'm gonna reduce the width a little bit, so I'm gonna cut off here about 3 inches or so, and then I'm gonna fasten these boards that I've lifted up. These braces here, because they're the ones that hold the moisture as water and snow melt runs down. It gets trapped here and it sits there. Whereas the outside of the boards, the water just goes down and the sun hits it and it dries really nice. So these boards, believe it or not, are in actually pretty decent condition. Now they're really thin, if I took the time, I could power wash them. A friend of mine suggested that, and not stain, but I could prime and paint. Now I could prime and paint these with a roller, just to add a different feel for this section. It would brighten it up, okay? It would brighten it up. I have a very rustic looking backyard. It's, like I said, it's not a golf course. You can see this is the original board here that was on top. Now, a friend of mine took down a pergola that he had, and he had some pretty good pressure treated wood. Now this one's much stronger, it's much denser, and it's about almost a quarter inch thick, about a quarter inch thicker than this one here. But you can see how this one has rotted. Now I left this up here just to help me support this while I was installing the fence, but I'm gonna probably take this one down completely and probably replace all of these. I may not, I kind of like the lichens on it. Like I said, it's a rustic looking feel in my backyard. But I do have some more of these pressure treated boards, and I could install them on the other panels there. It gets pretty windy here sometimes. It was really windy yesterday, and earlier this spring, this fence, when this pole was rotted out, it was, I mean, it really was bowing probably a good foot. So I braced it with some of the beams that my friend let me have from their pergola, and I cut the top off of this one here, cut the rotten part. I think I went over that already, and I sunk that in some concrete yesterday, and created a new opening here. This is the original walkway out into the alley, but for some reason or another, back in 2007, I decided I wanted the gate right up against the garage here. And then after 18 years, it started to become annoying because I had to walk out into an area. Well, one here, it's dirt, and if I'm just wearing, indoor shoes, or, I don't want to get all dirty and stuff like that. So it's nice to walk on the patio. I'm going to reposition the gate right back where it belongs on the walkway here. Anyways, this wood, I think, was a good investment. This fence was a good investment. Like I said, I'm always working on a budget, and I don't mind. That's my lifestyle. I like to live as minimal as possible, and I try to be as resourceful as possible. And that's why when I saw that my friend was taking apart his pergola, I asked him if I could have all the scrap lumber that they were using. So I got, probably 4 or 5 more beams, 4x4s. And I have several of these beams here. I think that if somebody is interested in buying a pretty decent fence, and they'll do some maintenance to it every 5 years or so, this fence here, I'm going to reach 20 years. So I think that a 20-year privacy fence for $700 plus the $4 of cement I purchased yesterday, getting other recycled wood, or keeping your eye out for other recycled wood, for me, if it was $700 for 20 years, that's a really good investment for me. And that's what I want to share, folks. I want to show that, we got to learn to use everything to its maximum. And like I said, for those folks that have more time, and this could have done maintenance for it, there could have been maintenance done on this wood. I don't see why this wood wouldn't last 30 years. Maybe not the posts that are in the concrete, but you can also do footers that are above the ground, and lock them in there with bolts, and that's going to be another couple $100 right there for those materials. So, but it's going to last you 30 years, so do the math. To me, everything is math, and I always like to repurpose things, and I like to use things all the way until, their full, complete lifespan, not be wasteful. Anyways, folks, have a great day, and come back, come back and see what's going on in my backyard. I got a couple of things that I want to do back here, nothing too crazy. I try not to create more work for myself. I hate creating more work. That's another thing. I hate creating more work. I'd rather do things that I truly enjoy. Now, I have enjoyed working on this fence, but trust me, I do not want to do stuff like this all summer long, repair stuff. Maintenance, a little bit, but repair and just like create more work for myself, no, I don't want to do that.